Hey everyone, SunTide here. Hope you all are doing great. So, as many of you may know, I am a longsword main, and I think I've been a longsword main in like every Monster Hunter game. And as such, I was very intrigued by the patch notes for Title Update 2, for a few reasons. The main thing is basically, though, that the Crimson/1, which has traditionally been like our best move, was nerfed, whereas most of our other attacks have been buffed. So obviously I was very curious about how big the nerfs were, how big the buffs were, and if that changed things. Because, if you don't know, the best combo for the longsword has always been to, well, first to get to red, which I'm going to do right now. So it's going to get to red, and then once you're in red, to basically alternate between the Crimson/1 and the Spirit Blade 1, which looks like this. It comes out really fast, and you have two really strong attacks in your Crimson Blade 1 in the first hit of your Crimson Slash and the first hit of your Spirit Blade. And this has been known to beat out the full Crimson Slash combo, which is what happens when you just press the X or triangle button. And it also beats out the full Spirit Blade combo, which is this one, which is lets you get into red and is now followed up by the spinning Crimson Slash. So both of those combos are beaten out by just doing the Crimson Slash 1, Spirit Blade 1 combo forever. Until now, because they nerfed the Crimson/1 and buffed all the other Crimson Slash attacks and the Spirit Blade attacks. And so I was very curious to see if the combos changed, and if so, how much it changed by. So yeah, I took a brief note through the Tilnor's GitHub, so just to see like the full raw data because I was that curious, and then I did some testing to figure out the timings of the move. But first, let's talk briefly about like the actual buffs and nerfs and what the actual numbers say. Okay, so the one nerf was to the Crimson/1. Okay, and the nerf that it had was that it dropped the element and status ratios from 0.7 to 0.5. Okay, so normally most of your attacks have an element ratio of 1. They do a normal amount of element damage or a normal amount of status damage. Before, because Crimson/1 was just 2 hits, well, I can't do it right now. But your Crimson/1 is 2 hits, and so they gave them a slightly reduced value, and so instead of each one doing full element damage, each one did 0.7 element damage. Now they dropped that, so now they both do half a damage, so this one button press is going to do the damage numbers for element and status of a single attack, which arguably it should have done all along. So this nerf is very small, and is basically a slap on the wrist. But how good were the buffs, man? And let me tell you, the buffs were actually very dramatic, okay? So the Crimson/2, which is your second attack in the combo, which are these 2 horizontal slashes, they had about a 22% raw buff and a massive 50% element buff. So they now do 22% more raw damage and 50% more element damage, which is huge, which is a huge improvement, which is great. And that entirely offsets the nerfs to Crimson/1. So if you go Crimson/1 to Crimson/2, you're doing more element damage than you are before. You only lose out if you stop at Crimson/1, which I think is pretty cool. What about Crimson/3? Well, Crimson/3, let me get my Spirit Blade back up. But in Crimson/3, they boost your damage by 13% for raw and another 50% or so for element, which is, again, pretty crazy. So now, this Crimson/3, which are these 3 hits, so left to right, then like that down right attack. So Crimson/3 is this one. So that one now does 13% more raw damage and 50% more element damage. It also had a very slight buff to status from 0.7 per hit to 0.8 per hit, which more or less counteracts the status of nerf on the first hit. So yeah. And that result is that if you use the full Crimson/Slash combo, your raw goes up, your element goes way up, and your status goes ever so slightly down. But there are other things that were also buffed. So the main other things are Spirit Release Slash, which is what happens when you, wrong input. I'm going to run out of Spirit, but that's the finisher you do when you do the Spirit Helmbreaker, and then do the follow-up to that. So this one got about a 10% damage bonus, which is pretty good. The Round Slash also got about a 10% damage bonus, and the Spinning Crimson Slash also got a 10% damage bonus. So all of your cool red finishers, they all do about 10% extra damage, which is pretty good overall. So yeah, pretty nice damage buffs. So the summary for the numbers of changes is that Release Slash, Round Slash, Spinning Crimson Slash, and the full Crimson Slash combo all got around a 10% raw buff. 10% more damage, which is a lot. In fact, if you do the full Crimson Slash combo, so the full string of the 3 attacks, you do 30% more element damage. 30%, which is crazy. But your status goes down 2%, which is nothing. It was a rounding error, I'm pretty sure. However, the Crimson Slash 1 specifically has around a 30% element and status nerf. So it was pretty bad for Crimson Slash 1's element and status damage specifically. So that means, what does that mean for the combos? Did our combos change at all? Because, you know, our best combos have been nerfed, and our alternatives have been buffed a lot. So do we do something other than just alternating between 2 attacks? Okay, so what I did is I tested the timings of all of the attacks. I basically just did a full sequence. I made sure my sharpness was wide the entire time. I may be showing the clip right now, but basically Crimson Slash 1 to Spirit Blade 1 does 22 combos in 31.9 seconds, so very fast. Now, if you press forward when you do your Spirit Blade, you do a different Spirit Blade attack. The damage is the same, the animations are different, and it's a tiny bit slower, which you may be able to see. So the full Crimson Slash, which is what happens when you just press the triangle combo, does 11 combos in 40.9 seconds, so it's much slower as a combo, the combo is much longer, and the longest combo is the full Spirit Blade combo with Crimson Slash 1, which does 4 combos in 27.1 seconds. You have to do the Crimson Slash 1 just to, like, weave the combo together, but yeah, so that's how fast or slow it is. So we have the combos, we also know the motion values, which means you can put them together and calculate like a motion value per second or per minute. I've chosen to calculate the motion value per minute because that's something I think we can understand a bit better. And so this is the old damage numbers, just so we have comparison and to understand just how good the old combo was. So as you can see, the Crimson Slash to Spirit Blade 1 combo had 3,312 raw per minute. It had the highest raw per minute, it had the highest element per minute, and it had the highest status per minute. Which actually surprised me. I thought that Crimson Slash would have higher element, but no, the Crimson Slash to Spirit Blade combo wins in every single category. In fact, what's really weird is that the forward Spirit Blade, even though it's a bit slower, comes in second place in every category. So there was never any reason ever to not do Crimson Slash to Spirit Blade. It does more raw damage, it does more element damage. So yeah, that is why we always use a Crimson Slash to Spirit Blade 1 combo. However, now, with the buffs and nerfs, what's happened? Well, sadly, not much. The raw damage values for Crimson Slash to Spirit Blade is still higher than every other value. It's also the highest for status, but there are a few things that did change. One, the full Crimson Slash combo has more raw than the forward Spirit Blade. So if you need to reposition and you need to press forward, doing the forward Spirit Blade 1 does less damage per second than doing the full Crimson Slash combo. Okay, so the Crimson Slash combo does beat the worst version of alternating, but alternating is still going to be better for raw and status. As for the Spirit Blade combo, it just loses out completely, even with Airborne. If you didn't know, Airborne boosts the damage of your spinning Crimson Slash. But yeah, so that combo is still way out, not good at all. But the Crimson Slash combo does beat out the forward Spirit Blade. However, you may also notice that the element values are much higher, which could be something, which I thought could be something. But the thing is that the difference isn't that much compared to the raw damage bonus, and even in a full element build, you're still doing mostly raw damage, so it's actually really hard and really difficult for that element value to be more important than the raw value. So I did the math, and basically you need 36% of your damage to be element damage for the Crimson Slash combo to be better than alternating. And you will basically never do 36% of your damage via element. You need to have like a full element build, and you need to fight a monster that's super weak to element like Gypsaros. And I think only really Gypsaros. So yeah. It's possible that things might have changed with the new Thunder Longsword, which has very high element values, but in practice, it's just not going to happen. So yeah, the Crimson Slash combo still doesn't do as much damage as the standard Crimson Slash to Spirit Blade combo. The forward Spirit Blade combo is now worse than Crimson Slash, so that's something at least. That being said, there are other reasons to alternate your combos. So one, the damage is front-loaded in Crimson Slash 1. So what do I mean by that? Well, basically, I just mean that the Crimson Slash 1 is actually a very strong attack. Like, this is a very strong move. When you do your Spirit Blade attacks, you know, you're going to have these weak points when you're doing, like, the long hits and whatever else. So just being able to just reset the combo and go back to the strong point is very nice. The other is that when you alternate between Crimson Slash and Spirit Blade, you're attacking right in front of you, right? You can see me do that right now. If I do my Crimson Slash combo, Crimson Slash 2 like is this wide arc, which means it's very easy to just hit something I don't want to hit. So attacking weak points is a bit easier when you alternate your attacks as well. So yeah. However, there are some reasons to try another combo. As stated, if you're doing a fully optimized element build and you're fighting Gypsyros, Crimson Slash can do more damage because it's such an element-focused matchup, if you have an element-focused weapon. Two, as stated, if you're trying to reposition your attacks, Crimson Slash combo now beats the alternating forward combo. So what I mean by that, I need to get back to red again. Basically, it is now no longer optimal to use this to reposition if you need to move around the monster. What you can do instead is just walk around slowly with the Crimson Slash combo, which can be better for repositioning if you just want to turn your brain off and move the control stick the entire time. It's an option. And the third reason, which may seem a bit out of left field, is Sharpness. It turns out that the Crimson Slash combo actually uses less sharpness than a Spirit Blade combo. To be precise, it uses 42% less sharpness per unit of time. So per minute, Crimson Slash to Spirit Blade uses 82.8 sharpness per minute. The full Crimson Slash combo uses 48.4 sharpness per minute, which is like much less. So because of that, I was thinking at first when I made these slides that it could be good if you want to, not run a sharpness. But then I realized that you actually do 10% less damage with Crimson Slash over Spirit Blade, and going from white to blue is a 10% damage loss, which means that, if you prevent yourself from going to blue by doing Crimson Slash, you're still doing less of that damage than just having dropped to blue and using Crimson Slash and Spirit Blade in blue. Basically, in no real situation is it going to be worth it to save your sharpness by using a weaker attack. So yeah, there's that. So that's basically summary and conclusions. Our best attack has been nerfed, but our other options have been significantly buffed. So we wondered, should we change our combos from just alternating from Crimson Slash to Spirit Blade 1? The short answer, yes, we should still use the same combo. The long answer is, yeah, still. Pretty much outside of absurdly niche situations, like a very heavy element matchup, like when you need to reposition very subtly, and 3, when you really, really conserve your sharpness in a very precise situation where that might let you beat a monster like one hit faster. So yeah, basically never. You should still use Crimson Slash to Spirit Blade 1. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, with that, I'd like to thank all of you so much for watching. Thank you all my Patreon supporters and everything like that. And yeah, that's basically it. Next video will probably be on the weapon skills, but otherwise, hope to see you next one. Bye.